Hi, and welcome to The Whole Truth. I'm Rich Teeter, and today we're with Marty Lamb. He's a Holliston attorney who grew up in Sharon, Massachusetts. He graduated Hampshire College in 1982 and then studied law at Cardozo School at Yeshiva University in New York, where he graduated in 1985. He started his own practice in Holliston, Massachusetts in 1996. He's a married father of two. He's your average guy, and I guess that leads to my very first question, Marty. Why would an average guy like you want to get into this dog-eat-dog world of politics, and why now?
Well, as you said, I'm an average guy. I have a family. I have a wife. I have two wonderful teenage daughters. I have a home, and I have a small business. And I care about my family. I care about my employees. I care about my business. And as I've been watching what's been happening around me, I see devastation happening all around me. My daughters, I have two teenage daughters. Alyssa just turned 19, Sema is 17, and Alyssa is now working for a living. She took time off after high school. She's working at a coffee shop, but that means she's a taxpayer. Every taxpayer right now owes $121,000 worth of national debt.
Me too.
You too. If you're a taxpayer, you owe $121,000 worth of debt. That was only $118,000 at the beginning of the summer. That's growing as we speak. I can't leave that legacy to my children, to your children, to our grandchildren, to future generations.
We see reports of 95,000 jobs lost just last month. How will you, Marty Lamb, get the economy moving?
Jobs and economy are the biggest thing that I hear as I've been going through the district. People are hurting. Right now, Fall River, for example, has a 14% unemployment. Worcester is slightly behind that. That is horrible. What I've done, and on my webpage, martyforcongress.com, I put forth positive solutions to help bring back jobs into the economy. I'm a small business owner. Right now, 3 out of every 4 jobs in America are created by small business. Small businesses drive our economy, and that's the emphasis that I'm putting in. And I proposed solutions for small businesses. On my website, again, I have a plan that will create jobs. Tax cuts for small businesses, payroll tax moratorium for 6 months for employer, and important part is employee. Because if you have more money in your pocket, you're going to spend that money in the economy. I also want a capital gain cut for new business startups. People take a risk by starting a business. We need to reward the risk, not hurt the risk. If you have money that you invest into a business, you've already paid tax on that. Why should you pay tax again if you make that business successful? We have to reward. We have to create the environment that creates the jobs. We also need to cut back on regulations and taxation that are killing small businesses right now. There's so many regulations out there that are hurting small business, and so many pitfalls and unknowns and uncertainties out there. Small business owners can't hire right now because we don't know what's going to happen down the road. Biggest thing that's an issue right now, Congress just went on recess, and they didn't pass a budget for the coming year, and they also did not extend the 2001-2003 tax cuts. That will kill small business if those aren't extended. One of my priorities, of course, if it isn't done during the lame duck session, is to get those tax cuts extended.
All right, well, tell me, how does your approach differ from the incumbent?
I've signed the front of a paycheck. My opponent has never held a private sector job, let alone try to create private sector jobs. He's never run a business. He doesn't understand how businesses work. He has been rated by the United States Chamber of Commerce at 35%. That means 65% of the time he votes against the interest of small businesses and job creation. I understand what is needed in order to make a payroll, what's needed to make a business move forward, and what you need to do as a business owner to create those jobs and to keep people working. That's a mindset my opponent has never had. He doesn't understand what it takes to run a business and how to keep jobs, sustainable private sector jobs, going in the community. Right now, unemployment is staggering in the district. Fall River is at 14%, Worcester slightly behind at 13%. The biggest issue I hear as I'm talking to constituents throughout the district is jobs. People need jobs. I want to create the jobs from the private sector point of view, not government handouts, but to create the business environment that allows small business to do what small business does best. 3 out of every 4 jobs in the economy are small business created. That's the emphasis that I want to bring to the table.
Marty, personally, I'm sick of the way things are done down in Washington. The partisan bickering, the politics as usual, all the things going on, insider stuff that I personally am tired of. I don't feel like they're working for us. How will you, Marty Lamb, change that system?
It's funny you bring up sick of Congress. I don't know if you've seen yet, but I'm sick of Congress. Wherever I go, wherever I speak to people, the same message is being told to me. People are just sick of politics as usual. They're sick of Congress. They're sick of what happens within the Beltway. And I put out a congressional barf bag. And
you did what?
Congressional barf bag. It says if you are sick of Congress.
Is that, wait a minute, is that for the congressmen or is that for the citizens?
It's for the citizens.
Okay.
I've been handing them out throughout the district and getting the message out through this piece of literature. And what it says is, if you are sick of Congress, then vote for me, Marty Lamb. And it goes into my positive proposals to change the climate in Washington. That's the message I've been portraying as far as changing.
Barf bags.
It's a way to get the message out. Those bags actually cost less to produce than the typical push card that politicians give out. So the message there that I want to portray and get out to the people, to the voters, is the same mindset we need to bring to Washington. We can do more for less if we think outside of the box. Career lifetime.
In this case, outside of the bag.
Yes, okay. Exactly, outside of the bag. Career lifetime politicians that have never lived real life, have never worried about making a payroll, never worried about getting a paycheck because they're on taxpayer salary, don't understand what the problems are. They spend, spend, spend. Citizens Against Government Waste has rated my opponent at 7% out of 100 when it comes to spending. Barney Frank rates at 13%.
What?
Congressman McGovern has a worse record on voting for spending than Barney Frank.
Well, talking about reform in
Yes.
Congress, talking about fixing Congress, it's all well and good, but do you have a plan for reform?
Yes, I do. On my website, martyforcongress.com, I put forth positive proposals to bring the positive changes to Congress that we need. These lifetime career politicians, big government doesn't understand how to live in real life, and we need to keep them under control. We need a constitutional amendment to allow the president, any president, no matter what the party is, to look at each and every bill and look for the hidden pork within those bills. A bill that could be otherwise something good for the people that has so much pork loaded in midnight conference committees, we can cut the pork right out, chop the pork, and have a bill that doesn't create more spending. Other proposals that I want to bring: members of Congress shouldn't be hiring family members. Right now, there are family members working for members of Congress.
So you're saying your wife will not be working down in Washington, D.C. with you?
No, she will not be working.
Have you told her yet?
And she will not be moving to Washington, D.C.
Have you told her yet?
Yes, I have.
Okay, okay, good.
I've been married almost 21 years. It will be in November.
No families, no privileged jobs, no hack
Right.
jobs, no
earmarks. The midnight earmarks that can't be traced down to a specific source, specific congressman, that go only for pork projects within just have to go. That is wrong. We need to look at, I need to look at, when I'm in Congress, what is good for the district as a whole. That's what the emphasis has to be in Congress, not what is good for a donor, what is good for one particular special interest project. We need to cut out the special interests. Members of Congress, their only interest should be the interest of the voters, the constituents within their district, not the special interests.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yep.
Are the politicians working for us, or are we working for them?
Right now, the politicians are working for themselves, and they want us to cater to them and to their needs. That's wrong. Congress works for us. We, the people. Wonderful document starts with those 3 words, we the people. It's called the Constitution.
I've heard of it.
We have to deal within the realm of constitutionality, and a lot of the campaign finance bills that we have passed have been declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. I think the Constitution is wrong.
Congressman McGovern co-sponsored the McCain-Kennedy amnesty bill. He also supports tuition breaks for illegal immigrants. He voted to prohibit funds from being used to implement and administer requiring federal contractors to participate in E-Verify. He voted against providing $89 million for border fencing. The incumbent voted to prohibit funds from being used in the contravention of implementing regulations for Real ID. He voted to block an amendment requiring verification in the President's health care overhaul bill, and he voted against the Secure Fence Act of 2006, the Border Security Bill, and the Real ID Act of 2005. Do you feel that McGovern has let down the taxpayers?
Yes, he has. As I'm going through the district, people are concerned. People care. Illegal immigration is a major issue here in Massachusetts within the 3rd District. 220,000 illegals are estimated to be living in Massachusetts. Some working, some collecting social benefits that should be reserved for U.S. residents, legal residents, and citizens, and taking jobs away from people who are here legally. I put out on my website, martyforcongress.com, a number of plans, provisions in my plan to stop illegal immigration. Number one is, I believe we should have no amnesty. There are so many Americans, and we're a nation of immigrants. I'm the grandchild of 4 legal immigrants to this country. They did it right. They followed a system. They had to be sponsored back then, come here legally, and they studied to become Americans. They need the jobs, not the people whose first step in this country was a violation of the law. We need to verify. You're talking about the voting record of the congressman. We need verification. If I hire someone, I should be verifying that they are here legally. And I should have penalties enforced against me. And there are some penalties on the books, but they're not enforced. Enforced against me as an employer if I violate that law and hire someone illegally. We need to crack down. We need to cut benefits to illegals. We need to dry up the job market, the benefit market, and we need to secure the borders. I do believe we need to secure the borders through fence, through use of military. And I'm not just talking about the Mexican border. We also have porous borders up and down the coasts and on the Canadian border. There are people coming in across the borders through ports of entry, whether it be the Port Authority in New York, through Los Angeles, or walking across the border from Mexico. Drug trafficking, human trafficking, weapons trafficking, terrorists who can come across the border, a porous border, and be a national security threat to lives of Americans. We need to deal with it. We need to deal with it now.
All right, Marty, recently I spoke with George McClellan, the chairman emeritus of UMass Medical in Worcester, and it was on the subject of the hot button topic that was bigger earlier in the year, but it's still out there. I know that jobs and the economy are very, very big, but Obamacare. Here's what he had to say.
The reason I am concerned about Obamacare is that it's not health reform, it's insurance reform. In order to have true reform, you need to change process. Changing process increases capacity, improves efficiency, lowers costs, and improves outcomes.
Well, how is your hospital reacting to the announcement of Obamacare?
Unfortunately today, they announced a major layoff as their response to the world that they see related to Obamacare.
Is that number in the range of 650 jobs?
That is my understanding. I heard that on NPR this morning.
So that's a big number.
It is a huge number.
Will that affect health care for people coming to the hospital?
It's important for you to have insurance, but if you don't have capacity, it denies access, and people that have insurance can't find a physician. Today in Massachusetts, we have 4 years of Romney Care. 56% of the primary care doctors are not accepting new patients.
That is not good.
That is terrible. This is not what we wanted out of Obamacare.